looking at me.
Can I have your attention, please? Yes, I, Wanda Sykes here. You ever think about all the nicknames we have for breasts? Boobs, tatas, the girls, chesticles, bubbies. Heck, you might even have your own nickname for them. And yet, even though they get so much attention, they're still so ignored when it matters most. What's up with that? Well, on February 9th, tune in to see why I'm talking so much about breasts and visit yourattentionplease.com to learn more.
To realize the future America needs, we understand what's needed from us. To face each threat head on. We've earned our place in the fight for our nation's future. We are Marines. We were made for this.
Yo, 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 what's up, Chicago? And welcome to, well, you all know me as Mzhiphop from Speak Your Mind Radio, right? And hey, before we just get into that, I just want to thank each and every one of you for rocking with us for the 5+ years that we've been doing this. And some of y'all have been in my DMs on Instagram asking me about the new invention of the podcast, and you wanted me to spread various topics, you know, because I always talk about music. So I decided to talk to my comrade, my number one, my ace boom coon, my mom. I decided to talk to her about it to see what she thought. And pause, let me tell you, me and my mom, we have crazy ass conversations all the time, on the daily, okay? So me asking her this was right up her alley, so to speak. Okay, now, when I was talking to my mom about everything, she said that, you know, first of all, you've come a long way. She was the first one to listen to my first 100 episodes. She's the one that got me the computer to build on this creativity. I didn't know I would start a podcast, but being that she's my best friend, and more than that, we talk about everything, I brought the DMs to her place, and she told me what she thought. So a little background about my mom. One, she ain't got no friends. No, I'll take that back. She does have friends. She has 2 friends, and I'm one of them. Catch my drift? Okay. 2, she's an introvert. She don't like people. She don't like being in the spotlight. She don't like being the center of the stage. So she's literally the opposite of her daughter, me. Okay? Yet, she has this wonderful personality that is so addictive. Like, how many people get a chance to talk to their mother on a daily, especially like this? And we talk about everything from the ETs to the aliens to the spacecraft ships. Mom, show them your background. Just show the audience your background, because you all should see her room. This is nothing. Look, it's a spaceship. She's literally sitting in her spaceship doing research coming from Earth. This is what she does in her dreams.
Now you're putting me in the spotlight.
Oh, I don't mean, but it's the truth, Mom. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we get straight into it. We decided to have this extraordinary episode as an extension of Speak Your Mind Radio called Talk At Ya Later. Because that's what we always say to each other when we get off the phone. All right, Mom, I love you. Talk at you later. That's actually her saying. Yeah, so she don't know. I built it upon her personality. You know what I'm saying?
I don't like to say bye. I don't like to say goodbye. And so I always say, talk at you later.
Right.
And my other friend, my one other friend has adopted that saying as well. Mm-hmm. When we talk, she says, talk at you later, Chris. So that's the background of talk at you later.
Yes. Yes. So you guys know that in my very, 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 very first episode, if you go back that far, that's all we were doing was just talking until we got to the meat of the situation, the thick of it, you know? So, Mom, I've done all the talking. Can you reintroduce yourself to the audience out there?
I prefer not to, but since you put me on the spot, my name is Crystal, actually. My one friend calls me Chris. I'm so nervous right now, so I don't know what to say. Star does a lot of talking. As you all know, I'm usually the listener. When she came to me and said, hey, uh, I've been getting a lot of messages. And by the way, I love her solos as well. And people were wondering if I was going to do an extension. And we were brainstorming some stuff together. This wasn't part of the brainstorm, me being included. This was not part of the brainstorm at all. And somehow she has finagled me to come and do this. And I gave every excuse and reason as to why I shouldn't do it. And I even said, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I don't like being on camera. She says, yeah, Mom, I know all that, but I think it'll be great. And I said, what would we talk about? And she said, we will talk about everything that we talk about. And I was like, oh, not sure if your audience is ready for that. And as she said, I've been talking about spaceships,
Yeah.
ETs and aliens since she's
As a
been old enough.
kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's been
yeah,
that long.
it's been that long. And she used to give me these really quizzical looks. Like when I would tell her things that she would love, she'd kind of look at me like, "Mm, okay, Mom." And I would talk to her anyway. And now I do that to her brother, her younger brother. He's 15. He kind of stepped in where she stepped off. And so these types of conversations are not new to me. Star speaking with me again, not having any friends, one other friend. I would not talk to her about these things because she's just not as open-minded about certain things, and she's my friend, and so I just kind of, steer clear. So yeah, that's who I am. I am an introvert, and it's not that I don't like people. She said that since she was a little girl, she had a fifth grade essay. And she had to write about her favorite person. And I was so honored when she chose me. And as I read the essay, she got an A+ on it, by the way. And as I read it, and I got to that part where she says, but my mom doesn't like people. And I said, why would you say that? And she said, Mom, it's true. You don't have any friends. You would rather be alone. I don't know how in the world you had children because you would rather be by yourself. And I said to her, it's not that I don't like people. What was the other thing you said? I like to, I would prefer my neighbors to live at least minimum 200 feet away from me.
300, but yeah.
And so I said, it's not that I don't like people. I don't trust people. I don't have a whole lot of trust in people. So it's not that I don't like people. I don't trust people. And that's a whole nother story. And I think if you're going to be friends with someone, you have to trust them.
Yeah, you do.
And they have to trust you, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I only have 2 friends.
Right.
And so that's kind of like where we are now. She says, well, and I told her, it's not that I don't like people. And she said to me, she's about 10 or 11 years old in the 5th grade. She says, Mom, if you could just fix that part right there, just that part, you'd be perfect. And I laughed and I said, I'll work on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll work on it. And so here we are. She and her brother are 25 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's 15. These guys are 25 years apart. And when he was about her age, about 10, he came out of the blue and said the same thing. And he said, Mom, you really don't like people, do you? And I was like, where did I hear that from before? And so we went through the whole scenario with him, and he talked to his sister about it. And so it's a consensus amongst my children. But I love children. I love my children. I love children. Maybe some truth to that theory. I am definitely an introvert. So that's enough about me. And I have butterflies in my stomach right now.
Oh, wow. Well, don't be nervous. It's just us amongst the others. We are never alone.
We are never alone. Never, ever alone.
Speaking of not being ever alone, what is your take on the drones?
Oh, wow. The drones. Well, I've been doing a lot of research on the drones when I first heard about them. I didn't know if they were alien crafts or if they were man-made crafts. So I did a lot of research on those. The government said that they were nothing to worry about. They were like a hoax, and a lot of things fly in the sky, and they kind of like, fluffed it off. There's one person in particular, a few people that I read about, and I don't know if you have ever heard of Dr. Stephen Greer. Of
I've
course you
heard of
have.
them
Yeah.
from Demi
For
Lovato's
me,
podcast too.
yes.
Yeah,
I
you
sent
sent
you
that
her
to me.
podcast, and I thought, then her podcast, and they were interviewing each other, and she was interviewing him. He was on her podcast. And anyway, Dr. Greer has been following these phenomena since for about 35 years. I've been following him for about 10 years. And so he said some things about the drones, that they were not alien crafts, that they were man-made. So my take on that is that the drones were not from aliens. Have we ever had any visitation from aliens, from ETs? Absolutely. We have a lot of visitation. And we're just trying to get to a point of something called a disclosure, which means Dr. Greer, along with some more people like Dr. Greer, have been trying to get the truth out to people. So my little bird's eye, not even that big, maybe an ant eye, things that I've experienced, maybe some of your listeners have experienced the same things, where I'll give you a simple one, where when we sleep at night, and this is scientifically proven, that when we go to sleep at night, our bodies, like these are avatar bodies, so to speak.
Yeah.
These are not our natural state. So when we sleep at night, our bodies, our avatars, they sleep, but our higher selves, some people call them spirits, call them whatever you want to, but our higher selves, they travel. They travel all the time. They're like orbs almost, and they leave the body and they go everywhere, dimensions, galaxies, planets, and they do stuff. And when they come back to the body, when we've slept 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, however long you sleep, and they come back, your higher self comes back into your body, and you wake up, you don't remember anything.
Right.
You don't remember anything. Some few selected people have been able to recall certain things when they re-enter the body, but most of the time we don't recall where we've been, what we did, what we saw, things like that. And I've been experiencing, I think probably around the age of 7, just strange things. And I thought they were strange at the time. And I remember once telling my mother, your grandmother, something I had experienced. And she said to me, don't ever say that again, because people would think you're crazy. And so I never said it again, because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But one of those things that I experienced was that there was something that I saw. It was like what's the word? It wasn't a complete physical body. It was more like an apparition, but it felt, was I afraid? Yeah, because I didn't know what it was. I could feel it and I could slightly see it, and the room got extremely cold, but I was talking to it, but I wasn't using my words.
Right.
I was communicating, but no words were coming out of my mouth. And the next morning, I remember trying to call my mother to my room, but I couldn't speak. Actually, I couldn't even move. And the next morning, I tried to tell my mother about it, and she looked at me almost in fear, and she said, "Don't ever say that again, because people would think you're crazy." So it was a story I kept to myself. I kept a lot of things to myself. And when I started to talk a little bit to other people, like maybe significant others, they too said I was crazy, and they didn't want to hear about it. I guess things that people don't understand, they tend to, shy away from it.
Yeah.
And so, but you, I couldn't talk to your sister about it because she's extremely intellectual, as she always has been. I think she just came out the womb like that.
Yeah.
Just, very, very intelligent, but very intellectual. And so certain things were, like, no.
The hit and miss.
Yes. And, but with you, I was always able to share things with. And then you had some strange things. I don't know if you remember this, but when you were little, there was a church around the house, around the corner down the street or something like that. And I decided I wanted to go there just to see what it was like. We opened the door, got to the threshold. You were about 3 years old. I don't know if you recall this. And as soon as we walked in, you started screaming to the top of your lungs and crying these uncontrollable crocodile tears. And you were pulling at me to pick you up. So I picked you up and you grabbed my neck and you held on so tight and you said, "Get me out of here. Get me out of here." And everybody in the church was looking. It was quite embarrassing. The ushers came over, we hadn't even gotten to a pew. And they said, "Is she okay? Is she all right?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so." And I said, "Well, we're just going to leave." I was still holding you the minute we walked out the church. We didn't even leave the front door. As soon as we crossed the threshold, you stopped, as though nothing had happened. And I looked at you. I said, "Are you all right?" And you said, just nodded your head, wiping your tears off with your little hands. And me, you, and your sister, we ended up walking back home. That was one incident with you. I can name a few more.
Yeah, so can I. But I remember that it took me years to figure out maybe kind of what that was. But, like I said, we are in the age of Aquarius. That's the age of information. So more and more people are coming to share their experience and how they felt in certain situations. And I think at that moment when we walked in the church like that, I was really seeing a revival of demons coming out of people that should not have been there in the first place. And it scared the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
Because when I got older, when I was like in my 20s, I would go to church too and damn near see the same thing. But it wasn't as scary because I'm an adult now, And it's like, okay, well, I guess people live with these things inside of them that are sometimes uncontrollable. And it's just scary to see those things talked about today. And it's like, whoa, I wasn't the only one.
Right.
So it makes
Right.
me feel better to speak upon it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're learning now. And the only reason I can do this podcast, because God, I guess I could share over 100 personal experiences. But of course, we're not going to do that today. But the tinfoil hats are slowly coming off. If you had done this 10 years ago, or if I had done this 10 years ago because you weren't doing a podcast then, I would have been laughed out of the industry, whatever industry that was, the human industry, But the tinfoil hats, and I say tinfoil hats because anytime you talked about extraterrestrials or aliens, people always say, "Oh, get the tinfoil hat out for him or for her."
Mm.
You've had so many astronauts and career pilot military, people come out to say that they've seen things, you know, from their experiences, from being, you know, traveling on the moon, you know, just different things. And so now we're, like you said, the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius is an awakening. And humans go through this. I think the next one is probably 3,000 to 4,000 years from now.
Oh, wow.
So I think the first one we experienced, and your audience can correct me if I'm wrong, was before Christ.
Yeah, it was before Christ.
Yeah. So that just shows you the time frame that when the age of Aquarius comes about, the awakening. It's a spiritual awakening. It's a technological awakening.
Yeah.
It's an innovation awakening.
Right.
And so for us only to experience this as human beings, so many thousands of years apart,
right,
that should tell us something, that maybe our time is dwindling, you know, it's not expanding. Because when we don't get it, and that window closes again, and here we are 2,000-3,000 years later, having to start the cycle over again.
right.
So one of the things I've learned through my research, and I have tons of research. This is just 2 binders.
Wow.
I have them everywhere. And some I just have to blow the dust off of them, because I've been doing this since you were a kid. So one of the things that I've never experienced before, and I'm experiencing it now, is that you say, the Swedish government. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, I think I had that in my note. Yeah, the Swedish government is taking the phenomena of ETs into their academics.
Oh, wow, really?
Absolutely.
Well, this is the first time they'll be studying about ETs in school, public school.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's
University.
amazing.
It is amazing.
Wow.
Harvard University is joining the UFO research. Harvard University.
Wow.
One of the most prestigious schools in America. I think President Obama, I think he and his wife met at Harvard University. News Nation. I don't know if you ever heard of News Nation, but they did an interview with what's this gentleman's name? Military guy. He's not in the military now, but he was A1 in everything.
Oh, wow.
Pilot, anything that the military had offered, he was the guy that they called. I can't think of his name. Barber is the last name. And News Nation did a phenomenal interview with him probably about a month ago. And he's coming out saying certain things. And so now we're like at a point that little people like me, who've been experiencing little personal things on a little small scale, it's making me say, oh my God, all these notes that I was taking, all these feelings that I had are valid, are being validated now.
Right. More than one way.
Yes. So, I mean, there's so much to talk about, just the stuff that you and I talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's me in my spaceship. And as Star said, you should see my bedroom.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's, but I feel at home. That's kind of strange, maybe for some. And I think we have to get to a point that we have to understand, if you believe in a creator, the creator, God, the one and only source, the only one, the only original source. If you believe in that, you must understand, and we have to stop being so arrogant as human beings. Do you think the creator stopped
At just us.
at just us?
There's a galaxy far
Yes,
vast than just us.
than Earth.
And it's expanding every single day. Time may not be expanding, but the galaxy in which we live in is expanding, the horizon. You'll never touch it.
Well, speaking of time expanding, not expanding, our days are becoming shorter and shorter. We don't have 24-hour days anymore. We think we do, but we don't.
No.
We have more like, I think the last time I read something that our minutes were had dwindled down. It's like 16, less 24 minus 16.
Oh, wow.
So that tells you that our awakening, it's if we don't wake up. Some people say, well, God is going to destroy. We're going to hell in a handbasket. But I personally don't believe there's a hell. I think the hell is what we have created for ourselves.
Yeah, hell is what you create in your mind. I can't.
Yeah.
I'll never.
Right.
Even the phrase "I hope." What do you
Right.
mean? You hope? Don't you know that you will succeed? Like,
Absolutely.
just stuff like that or whatever. Like your words are spells. And
Yeah.
speaking of the window closing gently and soon, this window is also closing, everybody. This is just a small portion of what's to come at Talk at You Later, okay? This is a show that's being brought to the ears and the eyes of all to expand on. If you have a story that you want to talk about, you want to talk to me and my mom about it, make sure you hit us up at Speak Your Mind Radio 2021 at yahoo.com, okay? And that's just my little plug.
Yes. Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And so, guys, just remember, you're never alone, even if you feel like you're alone.
Yeah.
That's the time when you are not alone. We are never alone.
That's true.
Yes.
So, Mom, I want you to give us a little bit of homework as to what the next episode will be like. What is it that we will be discussing with the audience?
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
You found your person. Now let the Knot help you with everything else. The Knot connects you to the wedding inspo, vendors, venues, and planning tools you need to make your day totally you. Having helped plan 25 million weddings, we've got your back when it comes to every little detail like RSVPs, budgets, and more. Because your wedding comes to life with the connections that matter the most. Get started at theknot.com/audio. The Knot. Let's plan your wedding together.
There you go. There you go, putting me on the spot. You mean there's another episode?
Yes, there's plenty more episodes coming, as a matter of fact.
Homework. Here's one. Why don't you guys take a peek at News Nation and see what Mr. Barber was talking about on News Nation? He is an ex-military person, and to see what he was talking about is really phenomenal. Some of you may have experienced some of these things, and I won't say what this particular thing was because I would like for you to maybe watch it yourself. You may have experienced this and not have realized what that was all about.
Yeah.
So that's the homework assignment. News Nation, Russ Cohart is the host of this particular episode. Should be able to get it on YouTube. Yeah, should be able to find it on YouTube. Or if you have an account with News Nation, you should be able to find it there as well. And his name was Barber, Barber, Barber. That was the ex-military person. He's not in the military anymore. He's doing some more phenomenal things, trying to bring the public, yes, more awareness. And sometimes when we hear stuff like this from astronauts, ex-military people, people like Dr. Stephen Greer, look him up too. He's been doing this for 35, maybe 40 years now. I've been following him for 10 years now. So yes, that's the homework assignment.
All right, then. I'll make sure I jump on top of that so, we can have more interesting topics to bring you all. And I want to say thank you, Mom, for stepping out of your comfort zone, your shell, and coming on to talk. I don't know. I appreciate that about you.
You're very welcome. And I appreciate you for doing what you've done with Speak Your Mind Radio, with being my friend, with understanding. Yeah, Mom, I don't know about this ET alien stuff as a kid, but you hung in there with me, and I appreciate that. And yes, so as you and I always say to each other at the end of our conversations, talk at you later.
All right, I love you.
I love you too.
Peace.
Bye.